Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another one of my Epic 7 YouTube videos. Today I'm going to be talking about my personal thoughts on the collaboration that, as you guys already know by now, probably is going to be with ReZero, an anime. I'm also going to be going over the units that are coming out with the ReZero collab and also the artifacts as well. Now, to start off, I want to say that I know a lot of people may be disappointed with the collab choice because, ReZero is a very quote-unquote safe collab, as people say, and has been with a lot of games. But remember, guys, we got a huge compensation for the collab being late in the form of a lot of mystic medals, bookmarks, a lot of hunt events, other events, and a lot of check-ins, right? So honestly, it was better that it was delayed if you think about it, because the collab was going to come out no matter what, right, for the game, because they promised that it would. So we just got a lot of free stuff if you think about it that way. Also, we got to save, bookmarks for a longer amount of time. So you guys may not have had enough bookmarks to pity if it came out in July, but by now you guys should have enough to at least pity both the units, and yeah, probably maybe pull for artifacts as well if you really wanted to. Also, even though ReZero has been in collab with a lot of other gacha games, I think that lore-wise it fits really well with Epic 7. I'm not going to spoil too much about it. If you guys want to know more about it and interested, you guys should probably watch the anime. There's 2 seasons. And also the units fit really well with the game's art, in my opinion. I personally would have liked a different IP because, I played other gacha games and ReZero was in all of them. But, I can't really complain about ReZero because it is a pretty popular anime and I kind of like the units. And I think you guys will like it too, especially when they come to Epic 7 because the kits seem pretty cool and a lot of unique features about it. And it is also a pretty popular anime, right? So it'll bring a lot more players to the game, and having a larger player base is always going to be good for Epic 7 because then Smilegate will have more of a reason to, do better in what they do. And I'm not saying that they're doing bad necessarily. I'm just saying just having more player base is good for any game, right? Now, before I go over the units one by one, I'm going to say that you should pull for all of them if you can. You want Emilia and Rem, not because they're good or bad necessarily, although I think both of them are above average. It's mostly because you won't be able to get them for a year, right? So if you don't pull Emilia and Rem, you're going to have to wait an entire year for the collab to maybe rerun. You never know if they'll rerun or not. People were saying that there were problems with the old IP. It might have been problems with ReZero, right? And that's why it came out late. So you never know if they'll even run next year because there's contracts they have to do, renew stuff. So it might not even happen. This might be the only year of ReZero, although I kind of doubt it. But there is a small chance that this event doesn't run again, and you don't want to be missing out on these units because, yeah, I think they're both above average. Even the free one's pretty good, so yeah, pull them if you can. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. Most likely they'll come back next year, but yeah, try to pull them. So the first unit we're going to be talking about is going to be the unit that was first showed on stream. She is one of the main characters in ReZero, and her name is Emilia, right? She is a Ice Soul Weaver. Her stats are right here. Doesn't list it on the site, so I'm going to list the stats here. Keep in mind for every unit that we go over, we're not going to know the multipliers yet as of recording this video or the scaling on their abilities. So it might affect the power of the units slightly, but just for now, we're going to go over the skills. Her S1's kind of like a basic attack that just heals, kind of like Destina or Ruel S1. Not too powerful, I think. I think skills like this usually aren't that strong, and this one doesn't have a soul burn either, so it's kind of just a filler skill. Her S2 is I think it's her best skill. It's kind of like an A-Lot attack boost, right? Where you can CR push someone and attack buff them, but it also dispels debuffs, and it also pushes her own CR. And the cooldown, when you mole it at +4, is going to be 2 turns. That's insane, right? 2 turn cooldown for 2 turn attack buff that CR pushes not only the target, but herself, and it'll make her turn cycle even faster because of that. So it'll be a super short cooldown, and you're cleansing your target. That's actually a crazy ability in my opinion. I think it'll make her very strong when paired with a really strong DPS like Landy, Spectre Tenebria, Carrot, etc. And I think this is going to be one of her, biggest powers as a unit, just her boosting. Now her S3 is going to be a 2 debuff dispel, and then you also heal and give a barrier. Now keep in mind that all of her skills scale with her max HP, not her targets. So this actually makes her better at healing carries and a little bit worse at carrying like tanks or bruisers like FCC, right? Because they usually have a lot more health than Soul Weavers. Now her Soul Burn is going to be on her S2, and and just add to heal to the target. I expect this to heal a lot because usually soul burn heals heal a lot. I think for Emilia, she's going to be very, very powerful in PvP. Just the ability to boost your DPS's CR and attack buff, kind of like Alot's wall, being able to support the team with debuffs and dispels, and then you're also going to be able to heal and barrier. Is just crazy in my opinion. A lot of the time when you play Soul Weavers in RTA too, you'll see that you have a lot of dead turns, meaning that you're just going to be S1ing onto the turns. Like when you play Ruel in RTA, right? You just kind of S1 a lot, right? You're just waiting to get good heals off. Thing is with Emilia, she has an S2 that actually buffs her DPS a lot because you see her push and attack, and the cooldown's super low. So if you give Emilia too many dead turns, it actually is really bad, right? Because she's just cycling so fast with her DPS cycling too and getting a lot of attacks off. So you need to do something really quickly against Emilia, or else it'll just snowball, right? Because their DPS just gets more turn cycles than yours. Now that being said, I think Emilia will only really be good in protected DPS comps where you can run like 2 Soul Weavers and a Knight and a DPS like Landy, or 2 Knights, Emilia, and like another DPS like Landy or like S10 or whatever DPS. And I think that's where she'll really shine. But besides that, if you're running with too many bruisers, I don't think it'll be that strong because she only gives attack buff. That's all she really does, and heal. She doesn't have like a res like Ruel in stall comps with like Crow or something like that, or like with Mei Chloe, and she doesn't have like crazy buffs like DN. So she's not really good in bruiser comps, but I think she's good if you have just 1 DPS and just like 3 meat shields. Now for PvP, I think she'll be like an 8 or 9 out of 10, maybe even a 10. Her kit looks pretty good when I look at it. A lot of people don't really think that she's gonna be that broken, but I think she's gonna be pretty strong. I think she might be borderline OP, not like Dizzy OP when she first came out with Guilty Gear, but I think Emilia will be really strong. Now for PvE, I think Emilia can be used in Abyss and Hell Raid. She's going to be good at cleansing, and she has a lot of offensive capability, so I think she'll be pretty good in Abyss and Hell Raid. I don't really know if she'll be good in Wyvern. It really depends on the AI on her S2. That's kind of the big thing, because you want to auto Wyvern always. But in manual, I think she'll be very strong. You could probably even use her in Fire Expedition and do just fine. But yeah, that's it for Emilia. And to go over Artifact, Guardian Ice Crystals, it will give her effect resist, kind of like Shamadra's staff does, but the ability on her artifact is going to be when an ally gets attacked and they're below 50%, they're going to heal a certain percent, up to 20%. So I think this artifact will be pretty good. The only thing is a lot of Soul Weaver artifacts are really strong already, right? Like Magara's Tome, that could be very strong in Emilia too, right? It'll cycle her faster. Rod is going to be good with her S3, right? And it'll give her more healing when she's S2. You don't have to soul burn it to heal. And yeah, kind of hard to see that this will be used over those two, but I think if you get this and you don't have enough copies of Magarajas or Rod, you can use this on Emilia and she'll be fine. It's not a bad artifact, but the problem is that a lot of Soul Weaver artifacts are just really OP. So the second unit we have is Rem. She's one of the main characters in ReZero that's female. If you haven't noticed, all the units being released are female from the collab, which is why they're probably releasing all the male ML5s they have planned right now. And anyways, she is a Ice Warrior, also Ice. Warrior is kind of one of the weaker classes in the game, so it's going to be interesting. Her S1 is just a basic attack that has a chance to defense break, goes up to 50%. And when you have Demon Mode, which is her S2, she'll attack twice with it. Her Soul Burn on it only costs 10 souls, and it'll make the defense break chance 100%, given that it doesn't get resisted or 15%ed. Her S2 is the Demon Mode thing. Basically, when someone dies, she cleanses herself and gets Demon Mode. Can only happen every 5 turns, and it's basically just like an Elbrus shield. If you look, every time an ally gets attacked, she has a 15% chance to attack with Iron Strike as a counterattack. Iron Strike is going to be an AoE attack that decreases buffs by 1 turn. So if you have 5 buffs and that last for 1 turn each, so 5 buffs that last for 1 turn each, and then Rem hits you with her counterattack and you don't resist it, all your buffs are gone. Also will give you unhealable for 1 turn, which is just a nice bonus. And the way I see it is it's kind of like an RB counter, right? RB reses, you cleanse yourself and get Demon Mode. RB S3s, right? Your S3 is most likely going to proc this Elbrus because it's going to be 20% per unit, so 80% chances will counterattack with Iron Strike once you mull it. And yeah, Iron Strike's going to do a lot of damage and strip a lot of buffs, and it's going to be really annoying. So kind of like an RB counter right here. And her S3 is going to be just an AoE attack that will also increase her attack and give her attack buff. It will also blind, kind of like RB does, but it also CR pushes her. So you're going to want to get this off before someone dies with demon mode, so you can get the attack buff when you counter. This unit's going to be a little bit weird to use, I think, in PvP, a little wonky because you're kind of relying on someone to die. So I don't think you could really use her as her main DPS because she's just going to kind of be just like S1ing, right? After S3's on cooldown, just S1ing over and over. I don't think she can kill anyone alone. So you're going to have to run her with another DPS, especially because she has a defense break on her S1, so she can set up units pretty well, right? She's going to soul burn her S1, and if it lands on DPS, you can just have your landing, your S10, your carrot, whatever you're running as your main DPS slot, just one-shot the unit, or pretty much one-shot the unit, and then her demon mode will proc. Now, this being said, it's also weird because she does want some sustain because she wants to keep counterattacking over and over, so you're going to have to run her in like a balanced comp, you're going to have to run the typical, you know, Knight with Aureus into Soul Weaver, right? And then you can run Rem, and then you can run like a main DPS. So getting this draft to work will be a little weird because in RTA you draft 5 units, right? So the 5th slot, what is it going to be, right? You can double up on something, right? Double up on DPS, right? Then they ban your Knight or Soul Weaver. Then what happens, right? Can you survive? Can you just cleave them down before you get cleaved down? Rem doesn't really do too much in that situation, it looks like, unless her S3 hits really hard, but we don't know because of the multipliers. And I don't think S3 will hit too hard, in my opinion. And it'll probably hit as much as like Charles S3 does. But you're going to want to build Rem a little bit tanky, so it's not going to hit too hard. So it's kind of weird, right? And if you draft like, what, 2 Soul Weavers, right? You can just ban your main DPS, right? And then you're in a situation where you have a Knight, 2 Soul Weavers, and Rem. And can Rem really solo DPS through? Who knows, right? I kind of doubt it, right? Because warriors don't really do too much damage, typically. And just looking at her skills, I don't think she'll do too much. So in RTA, she might be a little weird. I don't know if she'll be as good as Emilia in RTA because generally Soul Weavers are just always good in RTA because you can draft them whenever, for the most part, and they'll be strong. I think she'll be really good in regular arena and like even Guild Wars. In PvE, I don't know if she'll get much use. It's kind of hard to say right now. She might be okay in Wyvern. I don't know if you take her over anyone else though if you have them built. If you're a new player and you want to use her in Wyvern, be my guest. She does have a defense break on her S1, that's 2 turns, and a debuff on her S3, but I don't think she'll be that powerful for Wyvern either. I think she's a little bit weaker than Emilia in my opinion. I'll give her like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I could be completely wrong though, because she might have like crazy numbers and just like, one-shots everyone, and that'll make her like a 10 out of 10, like super OP. But just looking at her kit, it is unique, but I'm not too impressed with it. It looks fun to use, but I don't think it'll be that strong in my opinion. Now for her artifact, Azure Comet, it is warrior exclusive, which is kind of good because that means that there's not a lot of artifacts to compete with like Soul Weavers, right? But what this artifact does, it gives you 15% crit chance, which is really nice, right? Also, she has a, I don't know if I went over this, I don't think I did, but she has a crit chance imprint concentration. So getting crit rate on her is going to be really easy. You can just run like a crit necklace, this artifact, and the imprint. You might not even need the artifact here, and you will have 100%. So it should be really easy to gear in my opinion. And the other effect that she has on this is that whenever someone dies, she gets a CR push. I think this is only used on her, but even then, I don't know if you take it over like Sigurd, Scythe, or Draco Plate, 2 of the best warrior artifacts in the game, because Sigurd Scythe will help her with her sustaining, so she can get the S2 demon mode activated from someone dying, and Draco Plate just will make do a lot more damage. Also, the CR boost doesn't really help her too much when someone dies because, I mean, it is a CR boost, so it is nice, but if I'm looking correctly, I don't think her Iron Strike, the AoE thing, attacks or happens until unless you counterattack, right? I don't think it replaces your S1 like Charles has a chance to proc S1 into S2. I think her Iron Strike only happens on counterattacks, unless it's worded incorrectly here, but from what I'm seeing, it seems like that. So I don't know if this artifact will be too good on her. I would still pull it anyways because 15% crit chance is really nice, and the CR boost, it can be used on her as well, because keep in mind Draco Plate is limited, so you might not have enough to put on her, because I don't know if she's a priority unit to get it. And Sigurd Scythe is also a really powerful warrior artifact, so you might not want to put it on her. Better off putting on like Ravi, Holiday Euphine, just any other warrior, because every warrior can use Sigurd Scythe. So if that's the case, you can just slap Azure Comet on her and make her building really easily, and just use her as like a niche or counter pick unit into other units that she might be good into. So yeah, pull Rem if you can. She's a collab unit, so you want to pull her. You know, I think she's only a 6 to 7 in PvP just by looking at her without looking at her multipliers. But if her multipliers are pretty high, she's going to be really strong. She's going to do a lot of AoE damage. So yeah, pull her if you can. The artifact is also is okay. I would just pull it anyways. just because warrior artifacts are generally bad, and this warrior artifact that comes with Rem isn't terrible, so you might be able to use this on, you know, anyone. Just the crit chance is really nice. Crit chance is one of the hardest stats to get in the game, so yeah, you want to get it if you can. And this artifact is going to help with a lot of heroes with their builds if you're just using them as like counter pick units and not like as your main warrior unit that you use in RTA. Now after Rem, we have her sister, which is kind of sad because I kind of wanted them to be like one unit, kind of like Tamarin with the idol form and stuff like that, but whatever. It's the free unit, it's going to be Ram. Now Ram doesn't have a thing on the website, so I'm going to do it in these pictures that were showed on stream. So Ram is an Earth Mage. Her base speed is just average, and her attack is pretty high for a mage, one of the highest I think for mages. So Ram is going to be primarily looks like a water expedition unit. Her S1 is going to be basically a decreased attack, just S1. It can attack all enemies as well. Her S2 is going to be just a passive attack boost, which is really nice for expedition, right? Because DDJ doesn't work, so you just want to stack attack and crit chance and crit damage if you can, just so you do the most damage as you can. And also, as you can see, you don't get CR push. Now this might have some niche units in PvP, but for now I can say that she's just an ice expedition unit. She might be used, I don't know, as like a counter opener like unit, but who knows? It's hard to say right now. I think she will be just primarily for ice expedition because she's a free unit. Usually Smilegate, when they do free units like this, they're for PvE. So yeah, this will go really nicely for Ice Expedition because if you don't know, Ice Expedition will target the highest attack unit and then try to CR push them, right? Now, since her base attack's high and she gets a passive attack boost, by default, she's going to get targeted by that CR push to 0. And since she gets the reduced effects, if you look at the skill like that, you're going to see that it's just like huge Ice Expedition FU skill, right? You don't get CR pushed and you just attack with 4 units. So I know for sure when I get her, I'm gonna use her in Ice Expedition. She looks crazy for it, just because of her S2. But yeah, really cool skill for Ice Expedition. Kind of sucks that she's kind of relegated to it, but she might have other uses elsewhere. Her S3 is going to be just a defense break, and then you get greater attack. Going to be really nice because not only do you defense break, because since you have base attack that's really high, she's going to get a huge bonus attack wise to her to her base stats, because attack buffs, and I'm sure you guys know, percent attack from equips also scale with base attack, so she'll get more than other units would with the greater attack buff. Now this is really cool because yeah, you don't have to bring another defense breaker into Ice Expedition now, right? You can just use her with another DPS and just go crazy after the CR pushback happens and it doesn't push her back. So yeah, she's pretty cool. I think she's going to be primarily an Ice Expedition unit. She is free and you're gonna have to buy it through the shop, but just buy all the copies so you don't have to waste your dogs on her. Might as well, imprint her to SSS and use her if you can. She does get effectiveness from her imprint release, so you don't have to put effectiveness on her for as much effectiveness, I guess, on her gear to get her to 80% for Ice Expedition. So yeah, I think you just buy her from the shop and just do it anyways, right? Because she's free. Why not? It only takes some energy to do. Now next up, with the free unit, we're gonna have the free artifact. Now this artifact is going to give you just attack and just basically less damage from elite boss monsters. It's okay. I mean, you're only gonna really use this free attack, right? 15% attack boost. It's also on mages, which is going to kind of suck because there's a lot of good mage artifacts out there. But this one you can tell is primarily focused for PvE and like Expedition, right? So you're gonna want to use this on Ram for Expedition, but even then, I wouldn't really take this over other ones. You can just take like Collage, right? Because we're defense breaking units a lot and debuffing them a lot because your S1 also decrease attacks. You're gonna just be doing more damage with Collage most of the time. So yeah, this artifact's free though, so you just get it. I wouldn't really use it on anyone for now, to be honest. Yeah, there's just too many good mage PvE artifacts out there anyways, like Collage, and it's also 4 stars, right? So you'll get a lot of them anyways. So yeah, this artifact's just whatever. It is free, so who cares? But yeah, I don't think it's that great. So that's pretty much it for the collab units and artifacts, guys. Make sure you try to pull for the units at the least if you can, because if they come back, it'll take a year for them to come back, and there is a very small chance that they don't, like every other collab. So you want to make sure you get them. Both of the units you can pull look above average for sure. I think Emilia is slightly better than Rem. maybe not slightly, maybe a good amount better, especially for PvP. But yeah, I think Rem is not bad either. You want to make sure you have both of them because they may get buffed in the future as well. Smilegate has started to buff, limited units. Collab units are still on the table, but you never know. They might do it, might surprise us. And for Ram, yeah, she's a free unit anyways. Try using her in Ice Expedition. You might be able to use her in other areas of content as like an anti-CR push unit in PvP even if you want, and maybe some other PvE. And yeah, the artifacts, I don't think they're that great, but if you get them while pulling nice, if you want to buy them with powder because you think you might be able to use them, go for it. Just keep in mind, this is the only time to get them until next year if they decide to run again, so you might want to get it anyways if you can with Powder of Knowledge. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope this video helps you guys choose whether to pull. I guess you should pull for them anyways, right? But I hope it gave you a better idea on what the units could be used for. And just keep in mind, it's my opinion. It is my own analysis. It is all subject to change depending on how the meta shifts with it, and how the multipliers work for units. But yeah, I suspect they'll be okay at the very least, even strong. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you guys next video.